Falling isn't failing.
Welcome to Agency for Change, a podcast from KidGlov that brings you the stories of change makers who are actively working to improve our communities. In every episode, we'll meet with people who are making a lasting impact in the places we call home.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Agency for Change podcast. This is Lyn Weinman, President and Chief Strategist of KidGlov, and I am with Tara Knuth, Chief Executive Officer of the Lincoln Children's Museum, and we are in this super fun space. It is the Lincoln Children's Museum Winter Wonderland. We are getting ready for kids to have their holiday dreams come true. We're going to talk about holidays at the Children's Museum, a new project called the LNKLab, which is really exciting, introducing the Children's Museum to a whole new audience, as well as just the importance of play for kids and families. So Tara, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on my very first podcast and also to be in our very new space. So
yeah, it's really a beautiful space. For those of you who are watching the video, and that is something really special about this episode, yes. We don't usually record video, and we are recording video because we are on this white floor that is super slick. If I didn't have new titanium knees, I would be out here doing my best ice skating impression. Christmas trees behind us, holiday gifts, logs, pine cones, even over to the side, Santa's reindeer. I bet Santa's going to be here at some point too.
Santa is on his way too, very, very soon, but we cannot wait. Although the weather may not be cooperating and telling us it's winter, at the Lincoln Children's Museum, we are ready for it and couldn't hold off any longer. This sock rink has been a dream of mine for 15 years. And this year I said, okay, this is the year we do it. The kids have received it well.
That's awesome. So Tara, actually tell me what it was like, since we're talking about the sock rink. We're recording this in very early November. Did you start tearing down as soon as the Halloween costumes were put away?
We did. We actually did a late night on October 30th to tear it all down. It was an all hands on deck to get the spook down and the winter in. And so this was fun. This whole exhibit was my team coming together in a 30 days rapid planning. Like, what should we do? Where could we put things? How would this look? Some great sponsors came in with our Yeti and things like that. So to really make this come together. But this sock rink, if you've been to other children's museums during the wintertime, you will often see this. And so I would love to say this was my great brainchild. It was not. It's been at many, many science centers and children's museums have this. So working with my colleagues of what do you do? How does it work? What should the rules be? And things like that, we were able to pull it off.
I love it. It takes a lot of ingenuity, I know, to do something like this, to do something like that in that amount of time, and even the extra work to go out and find the funding. I think sometimes people don't realize what it takes to put a new exhibit up. And since you mentioned the science aspect in your team, I'd love to even take it back a little bit, because I mentioned to you before we started recording, the Children's Museum was a really important part of our lives. And my kids are now grown, and I have grandkids that I love to bring my grandkids. I can't wait to have them on this sock floor. But talk to me about the importance of the Children's Museum to our community.
So oftentimes people don't realize the Children's Museum is 35 years old. This location we're currently in is our third location. And I think you talked a little bit about the Miller and Page, kind of the little one.
It must have been the second location.
And then we were in the atrium before that, which maybe was even a little smaller. So each time the Children's Museum's gotten bigger, and with the intent to meet more needs. But going all the way back to those 35 years, this was a group of early childhood educators that came together and said, what does our community need? And what is that hole that maybe the schools can't fill? And that informal learning was where that was at. It's that playful learning. It is that putting those experiences in front of kids and letting them explore how they want. Being in a space that they won't hear no is not something that you often get. And you definitely don't get in a school system or a school setting, but you do get it here at the museum. We are a museum of yeses. And so as hard as it might be, sometimes when the kids aren't playing with it the way we thought they would,
Yeah.
it's on us to figure out how to make that better, not on us to tell them, no, don't do that.
I love that because I think about coming here with my oldest grandson. I think when we came, he was 2.5. You have this great Runza exhibit.
Yeah.
And the food in the Runza exhibit was so real. It was so hard for him to not try to nibble on the food. And then we went to the vet exhibit and he loved the vet exhibit. We spent a lot of time talking about snakes. And then we went to the fire department. And there we learned sharing because a lot of kids wanted to be in the fire hat, in the fire truck at the same time. And then we came down to the farm and we went to the stage. I don't know who had more fun, him or me, but wow, it was a lot of fun. I can't wait to come back. So let's talk too about just the importance of play. When I think about things like STEM and education, the first thing that comes to mind is like homework and experiments, but play is a big part of learning for kids too.
Play is such a huge part. And I think oftentimes people will say, when I say they're learning, it's sneaky learning. It's that things are happening. They're like, well, I don't see the math. I don't see the exact science they're learning. I don't see the reading. No, but you're seeing them learn confidence. You're seeing them learn how to share. You're seeing them learn how to be resilient. You're seeing them learn how to fail and get back up and try again. Those skills are how we learn all the other things.
Yeah.
And that's what play teaches. Play teaches all the necessary problem solving, collaboration, all those type of things, which are the skills needed in order to get to the actual real lessons that might happen in a school setting. But if you don't have these, it's hard. And even as adults, it's hard to get, and into life and things like that. Risk taking is my number one thing I think play does. I love risky play. This sock rink is risky play. You're going to come out here and you're going to slip. You're going to fall, but you know what you're going to do? You're going to get up and you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
And you're going to master it. And when you master it, how exciting is that? And seeing a child's face when they do that. That's what this is. And if you can do risky play out here, someday you'll do it in a boardroom.
Oh, I love that.
Someday you'll do it in another space.
You think about it, I hear this all the time. Employers want what they call the soft skills, the life skills. Yeah. Those are the things you don't learn from the book. And what I hear you saying is kids are learning those soft skills, those important skills right here at the Children's Museum. And for everybody who is watching the video or those who are listening, I was a little bit scared to come out on this sock floor because it's slippery and I did not want to fall. So I get that too.
Absolutely.
So Tara, it feels to me like you have this dream job, the executive director of the Children's Museum. Kids come here and play and delight. I imagine you and your team get to play every once in a while. How did you come about this position?
I have the best job ever. If your job every day is to bring joy to children and families, like it can't be a bad day at work. So, but I came here, so I have my degree in early childhood. I was very, also with social work. So that was kind of my passion from the time I was even in high school, I was working with kids and such. I quickly found out the classroom wasn't filling my bucket in that way. So I did a few other things. I did some social work. I did some other things. And then about 15 years ago, I was offered a position at the Kearney Children's Museum. So I was there and I didn't even know.
Right.
And it brought everything together. It brought my love of learning. It brought my love of children and memories and the connections that families make, which is what was my social work side of me that wants to have that memory making, wants to have that taking away some of the stress that's just in everyday lives of families and things. And so I've been in the Children's Museum world for 15 years. So 10 years ago, I moved here to Lincoln to take this position. It's like finding that passion and you put all the things that was being built through education or experiences or such in and having it all come together.
I love that, Tara. What's really fascinating to me is you think about kids when they're learning, the question they always get asked is, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And I can't imagine I've ever heard a child say, I want to be a Children's Museum executive director. But what I think is really fascinating, and we've got to talk to a lot of people on the podcast, is just how people's career paths find them in really interesting positions. And I think that too is when you're open to a little bit of risk, because you very well could have said, well, I don't know about this children's museum thing.
Yeah.
That's not really what I thought I was going to be doing, but look at how it's worked out and look at what you've done. So, all right, since we're sitting here under the snowflakes, I want to talk a little bit more about the holidays. What are the things, in addition to this great setup, that you have going on here at the museum for the holidays?
Well, one of the biggest things that we have coming, 15 years that it's been running, is our candy houses. So everyone, I think in Lincoln, hopefully has knows about the candy houses, and they'll be going on sale in a couple of weeks now. But oftentimes that's kind of the kickoff for people's family traditions and holiday traditions.
Yeah.
Is to get that candy house, the kits that you can take home. The best part of them is you're not trying to get the gingerbread house to stand up. It's coming as a large cardboard house.
Great. As somebody who does not bake very well, that is a relief.
You're not spending most of your time getting it to stand. You're just getting it to, to already be there. It's large size. And so what's awesome about that is that little hands could put the jelly beans on it. Little hands can do the things because they're not working on such a small scale. So it helps with some frustration and stuff too. The other awesome thing that I will mention, coming from a mom with all grown children, is if you want to get your teenagers back to a holiday tradition.
Yes.
A little candy house decorating does that.
I
I lure my children into competitions with candy houses and things.
Very wise. Okay, that's good to know. Maybe even my grown children will want to do candy houses. I have two daughters who love baking day. And then my son, bless his heart, always says he wants to participate, but somehow he makes a disaster happen and then he is excused. So maybe we'll try the candy house this year. And Scott, if you're listening, we love you, son, but baking has never been your thing.
I have a house full of bakers and one tester. My son's a tester. He is definitely there just to test the foods to bake them.
All right. Since we opened the door to teens, you also have something exciting coming up for older kids. Could you talk a bit more about that?
Yes, we are so excited to be opening. So we have a brand new exhibit area coming called our LNKLab. So one of the things with the Children's Museum is we do 0 to 8 well. It is our bread and butter. We're awesome.
Yeah.
But we know families come in all different ages. And as those older kids, one that had older kids with the younger, once your older kids don't want to do it no more, your younger kids are going to miss out. So we really took that information and said, okay, what can we give them for their own space? So they're coming in with their very own space. They're going to have a maker space with some challenges, some building, some STEM areas, things like that. We're making a community connection. One of the first things they're going to be doing is making pet toys or dog toys for the Humane Society. So we know that this next generation is really important to make those connections with them. So that'll be one of the first things they're doing. They're also going to have kind of their own big activity space, their own way to get active. It's going to have more technology in it than what you normally see in the Children's Museum. It will have a wall interactive. They'll be able to do different things with it. It's going to have a rock climbing wall in there.
Wow.
It's going to have some things that are just meant for that older kid. So that 8 to 12 years old. And then the third spot is going to be kind of a little book nook. Or maybe cell phone zone, however they want to use it, but just beanbag chairs, their own space, their own kind of chill zone. So if little sister, little brother are playing and mom's busy with them, but I've been drug along, I think they'll find what they want to do.
That's pretty awesome. When does this new exhibit open up at the museum?
Our goal is for this new exhibit to open up the 1st of December.
Wow, just in time for the holidays.
Those holidays where you're dragging the older siblings along over Christmas break, that we will have that space.
That's fantastic. That sounds very well thought out. Tara, one thing I just wanted to give you the opportunity to bring up, all of these new exhibits, all of the Children's Museum things that you're doing, it doesn't happen by accident. You have some really generous sponsors. I know some donors. If people are listening and they'd like to help out, what's the best way for them to connect with you? Can they make a donation online if they like to, get a membership online?
Absolutely. I mean, anything you can find on our website, lincolnchildrensmuseum.org. And we would love to have any of those type of things. A donation, buying a membership right now is the best time for a membership to be bought for Christmas. That's a great gift. Because again, it gives them a chance you're giving a whole year of play.
Yeah.
You're not just giving the toy that might last.
The pieces might get lost there under the couch and so forth. And it's a whole family experience as well. That's great. All right, we've talked about so many things already, but anything else on the horizon here at the museum that you'd like to mention?
I think a few other things to talk about is that we have, so like I said, big plans to continue to have the museum always evolving. So if you were here a year ago, I promise you it looks different. You would just start soccer rink today, and it will continue to do that. And we also want to make sure that collaborations and those partnerships and making sure the museum is accessible is incredibly important to me.
Yeah.
So we have things like Free Wednesday at 8 a.m. is free Wednesday hour to come in. They get to come in and no questions asked, whatever the situation may be. We also have a Museums for All program you can learn more about on our website. We have a lot of variety of different ways to make sure that play is always accessible and always available no matter what.
That's great.
And that's probably the most important thing is we don't want any child to have missed out on this experience.
All right. And the website one more time is
LincolnChildren'sMuseum.org.
And we will have that link in the show notes on the KidGlov site as well. So I'm really curious with this career that you've had and everything you're doing here at the Children's Museum. What advice would you have for somebody who wants to make a positive impact on their community?
I think the biggest thing, and I saw this someplace where it said, find the problem you want to solve.
Ooh.
And that can be your passion. That's your passion. You don't feel like you're at work. And so mine, I think with my education background and social work and things like that, I wanted to be a place where families can just kind of let the stress fall off their shoulders when they walk through the doors. And how can I create that? And so that's what led me more than anything here to the museum. So I think find the problem you want to solve.
I love that. So Tara, you and I were sitting here in these nice cushy chairs in the Winter Wonderland. You didn't realize you're on the hot seat right now, right? Because I'm going to ask you my favorite question. And this is a question we've asked in every single podcast all the way back to 2020 when we started. I get to talk to such inspirational people like you. And I always love to ask for an original Tara Knuth quote to share with our listeners.
All right, let me think here for a second. I think I actually can tie it even right here to our sock rink.
Perfect.
Falling isn't failing.
I love that. Falling isn't failing. So here's something you don't know about me. I have this saying when I go snow skiing. If you don't fall down, you're not trying hard enough, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I love that. Falling isn't failing. That's beautiful. Tara, this has been so much fun. Such a treat to come here. I can't wait to come back with Ronan and Shiloh, my grandsons. As we wrap up our time together today, what is the one thing you would like people to remember about the work that you're doing?
I think the most important thing is just to know that this is about the community. This is about finding those spaces where either the museum is not an expert in anything, but we're an introduction to everything. So we want to be able to have kids come in to feel confident, to find their passions while they're here, and to just leave with something more.
That's fantastic. Tara, I just so thank you for your time. Thank you to your team for setting this up for us. I fully believe the world needs more people like you, more organizations like the Lincoln Children's Museum. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This has been great. Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed today's Agency for Change podcast. To hear all our interviews with those who are making a positive change in our communities, or to nominate a changemaker you'd love to hear from, visit KidGlov.com at KidGlov.com to get in touch. As always, if you like what you've heard today, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.